Hello students. So in the previous lecture, we have talked about the equation of motion of damped oscillations, where we have seen that this equation of motion, it is directly proportional to the restoring force, but along with restoring force, it is also directly proportional to the velocity. So this opposing force is directly proportional to the velocity, but both are oppositely directed, which means that there comes a negative sign. So we have this minus of bv, which is an extra term that comes into action when we talk about damped oscillations. So in the lecture today, we are going to find the solution of equation of motion of damped oscillations. Now when I'm trying to find out solution for an equation of motion, I have 2 to 3 conditions that need to satisfy, so that I can say that the solution that I'm assuming, or the solution that I'm choosing, is the most general solution of the differential equation. Okay, so the first condition that I have is the function should be repetitive in nature. The solution that I choose, or the equation that I choose as general solution, should be repetitive in nature, which means that its initial value and its double derivative both should be the same function. Okay, as we did it for sine. So sine, its first derivative is cos, but its second derivative is sine again. So the same function repeats after second derivative. That is my first demand, or that is the first condition. And the second condition that we have is the constant that we choose, or the arbitrary constant that we have in the function, should remain with the second derivative of the equation also. So if I have alpha as constant, then this alpha should also be present when I take double derivative, or when I take uh, second differential of this general solution. Okay, so if I satisfy these two conditions, then I can say that the solution that I've chosen is the general solution of the differential equation. So then the equation that we have formulated in the previous lecture is m into d2x by dt square is equal to minus kx minus bv. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in more uh, general format by writing it into derivative form, and then just reshuffling and readjusting it. Okay, so this is d2x by dt square plus b by m. In the place of v, I'm writing dx by dt plus k by m into x is equal to 0. Then when I rearrange it, I'm just substituting 2 mu in the place of b by m and omega square in the place of k by m. And what I get finally is d2x by dt square plus 2 mu dx by dt plus omega square x is equal to 0. So uh, this is the most standard format of equation of motion of damped oscillations. Okay, and the solution that we are assuming for this equation of motion of damped oscillation is x is equal to a e raised to alpha t. So let us move on and let us check if the solution that we have chosen, or the solution that we are assuming for this particular equation, is or is not general solution of this damped harmonic oscillations differential equation. Okay, just so the equation that we have chosen is x is equal to a e raised to alpha t. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take its first derivative and its second derivative, and then I'm simply going to substitute the first derivative, the value of x, the first derivative and the second derivative in the equation. Okay, so if x is equal to a e raised to alpha t, what is going to be dx by dt? It is simply going to be alpha a e raised to alpha t, and the second derivative, it is going to be d2x, or d2x by dt square is equal to alpha square a e raised to alpha t. Okay, so what we are going to do simply is going to substitute these values in the equation. The equation that we have is d2x, just let me write it, d2x by dt square, d2x by dt square plus b by m plus b by m dx by dt, b by m dx by dt, b by m dx by dt plus omega square, which is k by m into x is equal to 0. So this is our equation, d2x by dt square plus b by m dx by dt plus k by m into x is equal to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute the values of d2x by dt square, dx by dt and x in the equation. So if I substitute d2x by dt square, what I'm going to get is alpha square a e raised to alpha t. Okay, then we have this b by m. I'm just going to keep this b by m as it is because it's a constant, so we can just keep it the way it is. So this is b by m, or you can also write it as 2 mu because we have substituted 2 mu in the place of b by m. For d by dx by dt, I'm going to substitute alpha a e raised to alpha t e raised to alpha t. And for x, I'm going to substitute the general solution that we have assumed, the general solution, but then we will write k by m as it is. I will write k by m as it is. And in the place of x, all I'm going to write is a e raised to alpha t. A e raised to alpha t. And I'm just going to equate the equation to 0 because that is what we have done in the original equation. Okay, so this is the second step that we have. In the third stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace with all the substitutions. Okay, so this is alpha square a e raised to alpha t plus for b by m we have 2 mu, which is 2 mu a e raised to alpha t, and we have an extra alpha there. Okay, so I'm also going to write it. I have just left it by mistake. I'm writing it here. Plus k by m is omega square. And again, this is a e raised to alpha t. A e raised to alpha t, which is equal to 0. So once I write it, what do I find is there is a e raised to alpha t, which is common in all the equations, right? If I take a e raised to alpha t from all the sides, I cancel it or I equate it to 0, then all I'm left with is alpha square plus 2 mu alpha plus omega square is equal to 0. So this is the complete process that we do to go from this stage where the equation has been put forward to the final stage that we get here after all the substitutions. So these are the steps in between that you need to know when we are solving the equation. Okay, I simply have substituted the values that I've calculated, that is I've substituted x, I have substituted dx by dt, and I have substituted d2x by dt square in the equation. We have done nothing different. Okay, so once I solve it, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take out the roots of this auxiliary equation. So taking out roots of the auxiliary equation is also a easy thing. All we need to do is we need to consider the standard format of equation, quadratic equation, and then equate these values, equate the coefficients and the variables, and then get the solution. Okay, so just let me clear the screen so that I can show how that is done. So the standard equation that we have, or the standard quadratic equation that we consider as always, is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So this is the standard format or the standard quadratic equation that we consider. And the solution for this standard equation is x is equal to minus of b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac. I'm sorry for that 2. It's a 2, but it has messed up. 4ac, just completing the line, upon 2a. Right, this is the solution that we get. X is equal to minus of b plus minus b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to equate this equation with this equation that we have derived. So if I compare, this alpha square is what we call x in this condition. Okay, so my x square here is my alpha square. So for me, a is equal to 1. If I consider, or if I equate both the equations, that is what we are going to get. This alpha is equal to x. So b is equal to 2 mu, right? B is equal to 2 mu. And then for c, there is no x. There is no x here, there is no alpha. So I can simply put omega, or c is equal to omega square. Okay. So these are my substitutions, or these are my replacements for the quadratic equation. Ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is the standard format. And the format that I have is alpha square plus 2 mu alpha plus omega square is equal to 0. So if I do the substitutions, I am simply going to get alpha, which is equal to, in the place of minus b, I can write minus 2 mu plus minus, in the bracket, now we have b square. B square is 2 mu, right? So 2 mu, 4 mu square. I'm just squaring b. It is 4 mu square minus 4. A is 1. A is 1. And c is omega square. C is omega square upon 2a. And again, this 2 and a is 1. So this is all I'm going to get. So minus 2 mu plus minus root of 4 mu square minus 4 omega square upon 2. So I have reached up to this stage. Once I have reached to this state, what I'm going to do is I can remove this 4 from both the sides. I can remove from 4 from the square root. All I get is minus 2 mu plus minus. If I take out 4 from the square bracket, it is simply square root bracket. It is simply going to be 2. And we are left with mu square in the bracket. Mu square minus omega square upon 2. I hope you are understanding. Writing is a bit difficult on the screen because I'm writing it with the help of touchpad, but you can understand what I'm trying to do. So this is minus of 2 mu plus minus 2 square root of mu square minus omega square upon 2. I can take out 2 commonly out from everywhere. So if I take out 2 commonly out from everywhere, this is going to be 2 by 2. This is going to be 2 by 2. Okay, this is complete. Okay, so this is going to be 2 by 2. And in the bracket, all I'm left with minus of mu, because I'm taking out 2 outside, plus minus square root of mu square minus omega square. So this is going to be my general solution. As we have derived it here, this is going to be our general solution. Alpha is equal to this 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Minus of mu plus minus root of mu square minus omega square. So this is the solution that we get for the differential equation. Alpha is equal to minus of mu plus minus square root of mu square minus omega square into alpha. Okay. So once I get value for alpha, all I'm going to do is going to substitute the value of alpha in the general solution that I've assumed. My general solution is x is equal to a e raised to alpha t. All I'm going to do is write the value of alpha, which is minus of mu plus minus square root of mu square minus omega square in the equation. Okay. Just give me a moment so that I can clear the screen and move on to the next slide. Okay, so let us move to the next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the general solution is given by, the general solution is now given by a alpha 1 e minus of mu plus, so we had two solutions, right? Minus of mu plus minus square root of mu square minus omega square. So this plus I can write for 1 alpha, and second, which is minus term, I can write it for second alpha. I am writing it as alpha 1 and alpha 2. So the solution, or the most general solution in this case, is going to be minus alpha 1 e raised to minus of mu plus root of mu square minus omega square into t. This t has stuck to the bracket, but understand this is t, plus alpha 2 e raised to minus of mu square minus of square root of mu square minus omega square into t. So this is the general solution that we get for the assumption that I've made for this equation of motion of damped oscillation. Depending upon the relative values of mu and omega, we can further have three cases. Now see, we have got mu square minus omega square. So depending upon either mu is greater or omega is greater, or both are equal, I will get different sets of solutions. So these solutions can be real, this can be imaginary. That depends upon what values of mu and omega do we have for a particular system, or for a particular span of time, or for a particular moment of time. Okay, so depending upon that, we have got three cases to discuss. So let me discuss the first case. The first case is minus of mu square into omega square, minus mu square is greater than omega square. The first condition that I discuss is mu square is greater than omega square. Just give me a moment. Let me get this annotation. Yeah. So if mu square it is greater than omega square, what will happen here? We will get some real value. If I get some real value here, then I can say that the motion here is going to be heavily damped. I am going to get some real value because this value is going to be greater than 0, and mu square minus omega square is going to be real. The motion therefore will not be oscillatory, and it will go on decreasing exponentially. Because this value it is going to be real, we have got a negative sign for mu, and because of this situation, e raised to minus of mu plus some real value into t, it is for sure that the motion is not going to be oscillatory. It is going to decrease exponentially to become 0. So after a particular time interval, the value will go to 0. So this is the first case that we have. Let us talk about the next case in the next slide. The second case is if we have mu square is equal to omega square. So if I have mu square is equal to omega square, this square root will go to 0. This complete root will go to 0. And then in that case, my equation is simply going to be e raised to minus of mu into this t alpha 1 plus alpha 2. Now this is going to be equal to, if I write alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to A. I'm just writing alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to capital A. Then my solution is going to be A e raised to minus of mu t. So this solution involves only one arbitrary constant. Okay, earlier we had two arbitrary constants. Now we have only one. So if I have only one arbitrary constant, so in that case, it, it can't be a general solution. Because I have got two solutions, though there has to be two arbitrary constants for this equation to be general solution. The number of solutions is equal to number of variables. Then if we have equal number of variables, only then we can get that number of solutions, right? So here if I have only one arbitrary constant, then this equation will not be a general solution. So we need to make a modification where we can substitute mu square minus omega square is equal to epsilon, where this epsilon tends to go to 0. This epsilon in this case tends to go to 0. So if this is the case, we can further have solution to this equation. Okay. So let us see what solution do we get if I substitute square root of mu square minus omega square is equal to epsilon instead of putting equality sign. So if I do this, I am putting mu square minus omega square is equal to E. We get e raised to minus of mu t alpha 1 e raised to epsilon t plus e raised to alpha minus of epsilon t. And I can expand it. We have got e raised to epsilon t. I can simply expand it into its series, like 1 plus et plus e square t square upon 2 factorial and so on. And for this, I can write e raised to minus of epsilon t, 1 minus epsilon t plus epsilon square t square upon 2 factorial and so on. And if I choose to not to continue with the higher order values, all I get is alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 1 minus alpha 2 into epsilon t. So this is what I'm going to get once I choose not to go with higher order values. Okay, so in the above expression, this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 1 minus alpha 2 increases slowly, but e raised to mu t that we have commonly outside decreases rapidly. Hence, the body will reach its equilibrium. It will reach equilibrium rapidly and stop. Okay, so you need to understand here that instead of dropping, instead of the oscillations, instead of this amplitude going to zero exponentially, it is going to zero rapidly. So let's say we have got some heavy object and we are trying to push it. If we push it, it will move and it will come back to the original position without performing any more oscillations. Okay, so example of coil of deadbeat galvanometer. If I have a metal bob, I oscillate it and then I place a magnet near it, its oscillations will directly come to zero. So that is going to be the case here, because we have got minus of mu t which is decreasing rapidly. So instead of reducing exponentially, it will directly reduce to zero. Now this kind of oscillations are observed. The example has been given, which is motion of coil of deadbeat galvanometer. Instead of oscillating, it will choose and go to zero directly. Okay, so this is the second case that we have discussed, where our mu square was equal to omega square. This is all we have to talk about in this topic of damped oscillations. We will talk about forced oscillations in the next lecture. So we stop it at this point. Thank you.